We've got the Dennis Rodman list for 2025 right now on FFT Express. You like that, the Dennis Rodman list?
Does that mean like the wildest, craziest, freakiest players in the NFL?
No, it means they're going to rebound.
It could be the Charles Barkley list.
Well, you're a Bulls fan, and I thought I'd throw that. Man, I think Rodman was the best rebounder I ever saw.
He was outstanding. Really worked hard at his craft. There's all kinds of stories about it. Fantastic. And he wasn't the biggest dude either. You know, for a power forward, he was like 6'7".
Yeah, a little wiry too. So anyway, who else is going to rebound? Well, who's going to rebound in 2025?
Well, he's not 6'7", but Kyler Murray is certainly somebody who is talking like he's heading toward a big year, says he wants to run more. The connection with Marvin Harrison Jr., take it for what you will. It's training camp. A lot of it is one-on-one, some team drills, obviously, and it's not full contact. It's against Arizona's secondary, but they're connecting. And if that chemistry is developed along with what he's already developed with Trey McBride, there could be some good passing numbers ahead for Kyler, but he'll also run. And we already know that he's a rushing threat in the red zone. Now he says he wants to run a little bit more. I'm starting to compare him a little bit with Justin Fields. And I think I might end up taking Kyler over Justin Fields because I think there could be more upside with Kyler on a week-to-week basis than Fields. I like the situation better for Kyler, certainly the track record a little bit better for Kyler as a thrower compared to Justin Fields. It's something I'm toying with, but I think a bounce back year is in store for Kyler Murray.
I think our Justin Fields love might be going a little too far, specifically Heath and Jamie. And I'll bring that up with Heath and Jamie. And I understand statistically it makes sense. But I agree with you on Kyler. And he didn't even have that bad of a year last year. He was QB 12 per game, I think. A lot
of it is weighted by week 18.
Week 18, absolutely.
He had a monster week 18. It was just a fun way for them to end the season. It was their Super Bowl, and he kicked ass. But I don't think you should count that game. And if you don't count that game, he was under 20 fantasy points per game.
I count that game because it's not like he played against second string. He played against some backups, but all right, anyway.
He played against disinterested backups. I don't know if
he played against disinterested starters, maybe, but
starters, like some backups too.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, who else you got?
Well, let's move on from quarterback because Patrick Mahomes, kind of an obvious name as a bounce back candidate, back-to-back years under 21 fantasy points per game. Although he had a stretch in 2024 where he was putting up good numbers. Do not forget about that. You can listen to our quarterback preview to hear just that little sliver of information on Patrick Mahomes. At running back, Christian McCaffrey, obvious bounce back candidate. I don't think we have to talk about him. Two running backs, I don't know if I'm going to say that they're going to bounce back for sure, but they're going to have the opportunity. And that's Travis Etienne in Jacksonville and Javonte Williams in Dallas. And I bring them up because we're always on the hunt for running back value in the mid to late rounds. And I can't help myself with these guys because of opportunity. To me, that's the number one thing that matters in fantasy football. If you have a chance to get the football, then you've got a chance to put up fantasy points. Both of these guys will have opportunities. A lot of buzz about Tank Bigsby, but I think Etienne's going to rotate with him. I think it will be a committee in Jacksonville. Good value on these guys, at least according to ADP. You draft them, you put them on the bench, and you wait and see what happens. By no means should you reach for them, but they are absolute bounce back candidates at running back.
All right. How about we take a little break and get some more bounce back candidates, some more rebounders after this on FFT Express. Okay, welcome back, Dave.
That was a quick break.
It was a quick break. You guide us, Dave.
Wide receivers, 3 names. They're all big names. So no BS like Javonte Williams or Travis Etienne. Okay, this is the meat of what you dialed in for. Tyreek Hill, Marvin Harrison Jr., DK Metcalf. Tyreek is the most obvious bounce back candidate. He's healthy. The Dolphins offense should be a lot better. I saw them practice on Tuesday. The offensive line looked a little bit better than I expected. And Tyreek should be able, I don't know if he's going back to 10 targets per game, Adam, but he was in the 7 target per game range last year. They weren't great targets. Obviously, Etienne and Jonnu Smith were soaking it up. I think Tyreek Hill can bounce back to a degree. I think he's a borderline number 1, number 2 fantasy wide receiver, somewhere around like wide receiver 12, wide receiver 13. That's obviously what that means. Draft accordingly, late round 2 into early round 3. Marvin Harrison Jr., again, the highlights are looking great. The hope is that the Cardinals change how they use him They don't deploy him 15 plus yards downfield. They use him more in the intermediate area and closer to the line of scrimmage. His ADOT might come down. His targets might go up. The catches should be up. And I think the chemistry that we've seen, at least in highlights from practice from Kyler Murray, again, I think that matters. And I think if they're on the same page, that'll really come into play in the red zone. And that's where I think Marvin Harrison Jr., who scored 8 touchdowns last year, could make a big jump. And DK Metcalf's going to be the number 1 target getter in Pittsburgh, provided that he stays healthy. He was averaging well north of 7 targets per game in the first half of last year, averaged more than 15 PPR points per game. This is in Seattle. And he was rocking. He was off to a good start, definitely a wide receiver 2 type of start. And then he got hurt. In the second half of last year, he just wasn't the same guy. He's healthy now. We know that Aaron Rodgers locks on to his number 1 receiver. It's not going to be Calvin Austin. It's not going to be Roman Wilson. It's not going to be Jonnu Smith. And I think the Steelers will throw just a little bit more than they have in prior seasons. And certainly in Arthur Smith's tenure, probably going to see a lot of passing here with Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. DK Metcalf's going to benefit. He's going to be in for a bounce back year.
And Tyreek Hill, just to go back to him. Okay. So he only had 122 targets in 17 games last year, but in the games he played with Tua, he was on pace for 134 targets. Now, that's not bad. That's not 170 targets like previous seasons, but if I'm getting Tyreek Hill in the second round, maybe even the third round, and I can get 134 targets, I do think he will beat ADP, even with that.
That's about 8 targets per game. I'd be nervous in saying that he'd beat ADP.
Well, it depends if you think he's still going to be a great player. Because
I think he'd beat being like a middle of a 3rd round pick. I'm not quite sure where his ADP is right now.
I'm not either, Dave, but I have ADP available. And
why don't you throw a number at us? We got a minute here.
Tyreek Hill is going 29th.
Okay, I'm in.
Round 3.
I'm in.
Okay, so you got a tight end bounce back?
Just the only one is Evan Engram, and I wasn't going to talk much about him because we talked a lot about Evan Engram on Thursday. What day is today? It's Thursday. Thursday, we talked about Evan Engram. It's our tight end preview. It's a can't miss show. An amazing ending. Highly recommend you go back and see it and hear it and take it to heart. A lot of Evan Engram talk in there.
Okay, I guess I'll try to look for another rebounder, and I will say, McCaffrey is the
Oh yeah, but like, what do we need to say about him? What could we say?
That I would take him 3rd overall.
Okay.
I don't think anybody else is really doing that.
When you do, Adam, when you do that, are you going to prioritize taking Aizer Guerrero?
Yeah, for sure.
I think you have to. And I know that practice isn't commonly accepted in fantasy, but that 49ers offense, we know what the track record is of running backs in it. We saw Guerrero thrive in it last year. I love their schedule. I want the running back on the 49ers offense. It means spending that type of 1st round pick capital on Christian McCaffrey and backing it up with Aizer Guerrero. But if you even don't get McCaffrey, you could target Guerrero yourself. Say you draft Bijan Robinson in round 1 and you get to round 8 and Guerrero's there. Go ahead, take him.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dave Richard. We'll be back.
You're welcome, Adam Aizer.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Miss Lippy. We'll be back on Friday with another edition of Fantasy Football Today Express. See ya.